All right, in this video, we're going to talk about putting angles on a circle. So there's just some vocabulary I want to discuss. The first is called a central angle. And a central angle is an angle with the vertex of the angle being at the center of the circle. So really any of these angles that you've seen so far are central angles because the center is there. Now, when you make a central angle, actually I'm going to put those back, what is formed is an arc. So we saw that already a little bit too. So this central angle right here forms this small arc here, sometimes called a minor arc. And the arc is the distance along the circle, along the circumference between the two sides of the angle. It also forms a second arc, all right, sometimes referred to as a major arc. We're going to focus more on the minor arcs, the arcs that are in between, but both arcs exist, right? So when this angle is formed here, here's the angle, you get one minor arc here and a major arc here. Since we're going to put these angles on a coordinate plane, which you'll see coming, let's just rewrite arc. There is a standard position for the angles. And the standard position relates to, like I said, they're going to be on a coordinate plane, an XY grid. So if they're on an XY grid, so here's your x-axis. Of course, it goes a little bit more perfectly than this. Here's your y-axis. This is the origin. So this is the center of the circle, and it's also the point 0, 0. An angle in standard position, one side of the angle, the initial side of the angle, is on the positive x-axis. So this is called the initial side of the angle. Okay, so the angle always starts from right here. Then the angle always moves counterclockwise. So that's the opposite of the way that a clock would go. If you remember the quadrants on a coordinate plane, you have quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a counterclockwise movement. So what happens is you have the initial side, then the angle kind of opens, and then it has a terminal side. So my angle starts here and goes here. This is the standard position. And this side over here is called the terminal side. This is the side where the angle comes to an end. Now there is an angle formed going in the opposite way, but this would be a negative angle because it goes the opposite direction. So an angle going the opposite direction is a negative angle. Finally, angles can go in multiple. I'm going to delete some of my, that's not going to work. I'm going to delete some of my arrows here just so things don't get confusing. You also could take the angle more than once around the circle, and it would still have the same measure. So for example, you could start here, you could go all the way around, and you could end here. I said same measure, of course, but not at the same measure. This goes 360 degrees and then an additional measure. But again, this would be standard position. It started here on the x-axis, it terminated right here, and it went in a counterclockwise direction. So because of the way we're doing these angles on the circle, you now aren't stuck between 0 and 360. You could go to infinity in either direction.